Hello YouTube, I just woke up to the sound of my doorbell ringing, and it was the last piece for my BMX build. After about 10 or 12 years of not riding much in the way of bicycles at all, I got back into BMXing and I purchased a pre-built bike, Sunday primer, around $500 Canadian. And although it's a decent bike, it has a few things that could be better. So this bike is going to get built at first without any brakes. I may or may not add brakes to it in the future. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting spokes down through every second hole in the top flange. Start at the valve stem hole. Got a valve stem hole here. So what we'll do is we'll take and poke our spoke through, and then we thread our nipple on. So we go 1, 2, 3 and put it in the fourth. If you get this wrong, you will find out really quick, because when you get around, you will either have a whole bunch of holes left over or not enough holes. The reason why you want to rotate the hub in a counterclockwise direction is because you don't want to interrupt or interfere with your valve stem. The valve stem will come through like this, and if we turned it this way, then we're actually making the spoke get closer to the valve stem, or closer to the valve stem hole. So we want to turn it counterclockwise, and that way we give ourselves a little extra room in this area. So now the next spoke is actually going to go in the hole counterclockwise of the spoke that we just put in. But what we're actually going to do is flip the wheel over, and so now it's going to be in the clockwise direction. So what we need to do is make sure that we have the right hole in the hub when we start off. Because the spoke is going to be going in one hole clockwise, we need to put the spoke in the flange one hole clockwise. That's going to be really hard to show on camera, so I'm just going to go with it here, and I'll get back to you guys when I get it sorted. Alright, now that I've figured out which hole that I need to start with in the flange, it's as simple as dropping a spoke down through every second hole in the flange, and that will maintain my spacing. Alright, now that we have all of our spokes in the opposite flange, what we will do is rotate the hub clockwise. Then we take our spoke, let's see, we'll take this one, starting at the valve stem, and we thread on a nipple. Then we simply continue that pattern. We move on to the next one, and we continue around until they are done. This wheel was built based on it being a 3-cross, so that means the length of the spokes is the correct length when I'm crossing 3 spokes. So this will be the first spoke that I'm crossing, this will be the second spoke that I'm crossing, and this will be the third spoke that I'm crossing. You need to remember is the third one that you cross, you need to go under. So we go over the first cross, over the second cross, and under the third cross. Then what you want to do is skip a hole from the third crossed spoke and put the spoke in that next hole. Now that we've got that done, It gets really simple because all we do is drop the remaining spokes down through the remaining holes. And then we only have one set of holes left that we can possibly use. So from this point you just do your 3 cross and put it in the available hole. So we flip the wheel over, do our same 3 cross thing. So we now are going in the opposite direction. So we cross 1, 2, and then the third one we go under. There's only one hole left, which is right here. And we continue along. 1, 2, 3. Go under the third. And this is the last one, folks. We go 1, 2, cross the third one, put our last nipple on. I did get the wheels built, both of them, and they're running very true. So, I've got the I got the Demolition Royal fork. Then we'll grab all the pieces from our headset, our stem, take that top cap nut thing off, bolt I guess, and we're going to put a little bit of grease to the bottom fork race here. You just slide on the bottom bearing race and it fits right onto the fork. I'm going to apply grease directly to the bearing. This is basically so that it doesn't make any noise inside of the frame. Abracadabra. Alright, put a little bit of grease on the outside of the bearing. This piece is basically a tapered expansion ring, so it rides at the same angle as the inner part of the bearing cup or the bearing race, and it has a split in it so that when you tighten it down it can actually tighten and grab the fork. So the more you tighten it, the more it grabs the what do you call it, the steer tube. Okay. Now the cup goes, or the top cap goes on. This is the part that keeps the debris and the crap out of your headset. Push that down in place. We'll grab this spacer. I could put this on top, probably, but we'll put it under for now and make sure we actually get the headset compressed down. So now we're going to put some grease on the bolt here, the compression bolt, and just snug this up a little bit. Seems like everything's seated, but I'm sure once I ride it or bump it around a little bit, it's going to need a good tightening. That is a buttery smooth headset right there. Now we're going to put a little bit of grease on the threads and a little bit of grease where it makes contact with the washer and with the stem itself. For now, we will put the bars something like this. purchased this particular brand for two reasons. One, it was fairly inexpensive, and the other thing is it's a Canadian BMX company, and I am Canadian, so I figured if I could support Canada a little bit, I would. Alright, we'll just snug that down. Probably have to adjust the angle later. There, that's good enough so that it won't fall out. Put that there like that. And this piece will go against the bearing. I'll put a little bit of grease on there. I'll put a bolt in here. Alright, now we got our narrow spacer. Then we'll put the crank arm into the bearing. Then we'll put the bearing on. Make sure that you line the spline up properly. Alright, for the next step we are going to cut the chain to length, and that means installing the back wheel. Slam the wheel all the way in. Let's pull the chain around and see if it's going to work out or if we need a half link. Well, it's actually going to work out perfectly. So we don't. This is a, what is it, a 410 SL chain, I believe. It has hollow pins. It's probably the best price weight conscious chain out there. And I don't really have the proper tool for doing this. I use this. All will work just fine. There we go. Alright, we're going to be using these United pedals. There we go. Alrighty. I didn't figure anybody wanted to watch me put tires and tubes in, so I did that off camera. And here is the first view of my new bike. Come on, just stay there. Okay. I like it. Needs grips, obviously. I think I will have to take it out to the garage to use the air compressor to get the grips on. I'm not going to fight with it here. Here are the grips. I got them because I thought clear looked cool. Turns out that they're glow in the dark. I don't think I'll ever use the bike in the dark, but that's still pretty neat. I don't know about the bars, if I'll cut them down or maybe I'll try it first and then cut them down. We will see. But anyway, I quite like the look of it. It's pretty sharp. It'll probably scare me if I start calculating how much money I put into it. but at some point I will do that. Good last run of the day.